Am I the a-hole for having my kids wear tie-dye when with their dad? I, 30 female, my ex-husband, 31 male, got divorced 5 years ago. During our divorce, we owned an old single-wide mobile home, 1973, on a large piece of land that is zoned for a trailer park. He wanted a new truck and our savings, while I wanted the old trailer and the land. My ex and I have 2 girls, 8 and 7. Since my divorce, I slowly started buying old single-wides and restoring them, turning it into a business, and I love it. My girls go to their dad's and affair partner's apartment every other weekend. I started noticing their clothes, electronics, toys were not coming home. At first, I thought their dad was just keeping a few outfits there for them. However, my 8-year-old got upset when she was packing. I asked her what was wrong. She told me her dad takes her clothes and sells them online, that she doesn't want to take her favorite shirt over there. I immediately called my ex. I asked him to return our daughter's clothes, not wanting to throw my daughter under the bus. I blamed it on them not having enough for school. He played dumb. He said he got rid of the clothes that were too small. I pointed out that the jeans our 7-year-old had were brand new. He then said that it was only fair he got some cash because he owned a trailer and land. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this good. I got angry. I took my daughters down to the dollar store and bought cheap shirts, and to a thrift store and bought cheap shorts. Then we had a girls' tie-dye night and hot pink everything. Each made 5 shirts and 5 bottoms. I let our girls design and decorate them. My girls loved it. The following week, X sends the girls home. I could tell he is mad, but he didn't say anything. But the clothes were not returned. No worries. I knew this would be an issue, so we made extras. When the girls went back, they were wearing tie-dye again. They were with their dad for an hour before he called and demanded different clothes. I kindly told him that our daughters love those clothes. They really, really love tie-dye. X got even angrier and said his parents have a major family party, and the girls can't wear pink tie-dye. I told him that he should go buy other clothes if he didn't want them to wear it. He called me an a-hole for being petty. Am I? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Keep a record of what goes over there and back, as you can have the child support changed to show he is taking it back. Mighty bold of you to think that man pays child support. If he's stealing clothes from his daughters to sell, I highly doubt he's actually paying child support. Not the a-hole. You need to take this man to court. He is stealing from his children and doesn't care that it is causing them clear and understandable distress. Seconded, what kind of parent sells their children's clothing off their backs because it was only fair they got some cash? A huge a-hole or a substance addict? I'm worried that it could be the latter. Either way, it might be worth taking to a lawyer about getting full custody. Not the a-hole. My son's dad and his affair partner tried this when he was young. Wasn't selling them, was just keeping any new clothing and returning him an old/dirty/outgrown stuff his affair partner's kid used to wear, and giving my son's stuff to affair partner's kid. Told him that wouldn't fly. What left this house comes back to this house with our son. His affair partner retaliated by dumping grape soda into my son's overnight bag. So I took him to court. Judge ordered he had to keep clothing and toys at his house, and what our son arrived with was what he returned with. And it had to be clean unless the visit was less than a day trip. Anything missing/damaged, he had to reimburse me for. Thank you. I wasn't sure how this would go if we went back to court. You seem to have more of a case than I did. Your Rex is selling their stuff for cash. Most judges rule what is best for the children involved. Like others have said, keep records of him admitting he somehow deserves the money from selling his own children's belongings. Keep receipts of what you've bought. Take pictures of what they leave wearing/packing, etc. State simply that you want everything returned in the condition it left in. That he has to keep clothing/toys there at his place, if that is your wish as well. My ex was an idiot. His affair partner didn't want him talking to me on the phone about our son, so made him keep to emails/texts. Our son is a grown adult now, and I don't think his dad ever realized just how much that bit him in the butt by having everything always in writing. That's what I should probably do. Just not answer the phone and force him to send a text or leave a voicemail. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife our daughter is more important than she is? Our daughter is turning 18 in October. She's a great kid. Always pulled straight A's, never in any type of trouble, and she's very respectful. My wife recently decided to have a talk with her about adult responsibilities. I have no knowledge of this conversation until my daughter came to me crying because she was scared about living on her own. I was confused at first. Then she told me her mother said she needs to start looking for a job. because she'll be expected to get her own place after her birthday. I was appalled because we never discussed throwing her out at 18. When I confronted my wife, she said our daughter wasn't a child anymore and needed our push to become an adult. I told her I was really baffled that she would exclude me from such a serious decision/conversation. I asked my wife how does she expect our kid to make it on minimum wage, especially considering the rent is out of control in our area. She then informs me she had planned for us to pay half her rent until she was 20. I then asked her why she wanted our kid gone so bad. As the argument intensified, I believe she slipped by saying she needed a space, daughter's bedroom, for her art studio. I couldn't believe it. I told my wife if her hobby was more important than our daughter, she should be the one looking to rent. However, she took that as me saying move out, but that's not how I meant it. I was implying for her to rent more space for a studio and to leave our daughter alone. She didn't believe that's what I actually meant. She then gave me the silent treatment for 3 days. Our daughter, however, was still upset as she processed her mother wanting her out. She realized moving into a rental meant she had to leave her 2 cats behind. She's had these cats since she was a young child. That alone devastated her. She told me, I don't want to turn 18. I don't want to celebrate my birthday. I picked the arguments back up with my wife at that point. I said, our daughter isn't moving out until she decides on her own terms, because she's more important than you or your hobby. She looked stunned, and maybe in the heat of the moment I didn't choose my words wisely. I just couldn't bear to see our daughter so upset any longer. I don't want her struggling to make ends meet and not be able to follow her dreams. The last thing I want for her is to feel rushed. As far as my wife goes, she's not talking to me at all and she's been cold towards our daughter. Not the a-hole. Your wife is. While 18 may very well be the age you become an adult, 18 is not an age where most people are prepared to live on their own. Your wife is absolutely the a-hole because she should have had a conversation with you before arbitrarily making an absolute asinine decision. It may be time to take a good hard look at your marriage. Putting an art studio ahead of a child's welfare and well-being is ludicrous. Edit. OP, if you have not thought about planning for the unexpected, you should. Please make sure you have a will in place to protect your daughter. Life happens. Additionally, think about some therapy to help deal with any anxiety. Turning 18 should be a happy time for her. While 18 may very well be the age to become an adult, 18 is not an age where most people are prepared to live on their own. Not to mention you don't stop being a parent when your child is 18 or 20 or any other age. You should be there for your kid, and they'll be there for you. If the daughter is kicked out to make space for an art studio, I doubt she'd feel good coming to her parents for help if she ever needs it. I definitely wouldn't. I was welcome back home when the pandemonium started. I'm saving up to be actually independent, and will be paying rent after I graduate. I'm currently paying for everything except basic food and shelter, car insurance, clothes, pet care, etc. And I fully expect to be there for my parents as they age too, just like they're here for me. Not the a-hole. This is the hill to die on. You weren't that far off when you said maybe your wife should rent instead. How unbelievably cruel she is to her own child to prioritize an art room over her daughter. I don't want to get bad, so that's all I will say. I simply cannot imagine the incredible amount of selfishness that would cause someone to spring this on everyone else in the household for an art studio. Here's hoping all her art she is prioritizing over her own daughter ends up in the unwanted pile after a garage sale, and she drives by at the moment it's chucked into a garbage crusher. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for demanding my stepkid pay me back for my golf clubs or I'll never give him another dime? I'm 32 male married to Kayla, 36 female, and she has a son, 16 male. Drew overall is a good kid, plays sports and has good friends. I started dating Kayla when he was 10 and I was never asked to be a father figure. Drew has a dad. His dad doesn't really put in much effort, but he still does show up sometimes. Kayla made it clear she wasn't looking for a dad for her son, but that whoever she ended up with would need to be respectful of Drew. I'm not into having kids, so this worked out. Me and Drew are cordial, but it's almost like an older cousin type relationship. His mom told me from the beginning that I wasn't ever to discipline Drew. My role was just to be there for serious issues. I'm an avid golfer and my clubs are my baby. I golf 2 to 3 times a week. I keep my clubs in the basement and away from Drew and his friends. I come home last week and go to look for my clubs and they're gone. Called Kayla and Drew. Kayla said Drew went golfing with his friends. I asked if she said she could take my clubs. She said she didn't ask about clubs. So I kept calling Drew. Well, he comes home the next morning. He said he borrowed them. I got angry and said he should have told me first, which he apologized for. Then the bombshell. He lost them. Said he put them in the trunk in his car and spent the night at a friend's. In the morning, the clubs were gone. I blew a gasket. I called his friend's parents, the cops, and went to his friend's house to look for them. They're gone. I demanded to be repaid. The total cost of my bag, clubs, balls, and other stuff in my bag is over $3,000. Kayla said she would be punishing Drew, but that I should let the cost of the clubs go because we are family. I laugh because that isn't what she said when it comes to discipline or other issues. I should accept being out of $3,000 for someone who isn't even my kid? I said I want actual money. Me and Kayla have split finances. So she's saying that if I'm demanding money, then it's like I'm asking her to fork over $3,000. I said that is her issue, not mine. She then asked if Drew could work off the debt by doing the lawn, projects, and more chores till the debt is clear. I said no chance. She's saying that Drew can't get a job because of sports, so I needed to just accept his apology, her punishment, and hard labor as repayment. I want actual repayment and not lip service. So I will not be giving Drew anything till I recoup my money. No Christmas, birthday, graduation gifts. I will not give him money for gas, dates, or food like I had before. If he asks me for something that will cost money, I'll just say golf clubs till I got $3,000 back. Kayla is saying that isn't how you treat family who makes a mistake. I said Drew might be family, but that doesn't mean I have to be a doormat. A few of my friends see my side and others are calling me an a-hole. Am I? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, but the bottleneck is not Drew. It's Kayla. She's the one who has adults level money, and she's the one who is refusing to pay you compensation for what her son did. Correct behavior on her part would be to pay you herself, rather than making Drew do it, and then to discipline Drew in whatever way she, as his parent, believes is most likely to teach him to behave better in the future. Right now, the problem is that she's complaining and outraged that it's like you're asking her to fork over $3,000. But you should be asking exactly that, because she should indeed fork over $3,000 out of her own money. Since you two keep separate finances in the first place, that's an easy way to compensate you for your clubs. So why is she objecting to it? And why are you letting her get away with dodging? So that you feel you can't get your money back except in tiny bits and pieces from not giving things to Drew? She should be paying you back. You should be staying firm with her about this. This is the way. Drew should be working off the $3,000 he owes her after she pays OB. That's her decision. Yes, it's the way I would do it if it were my kid. But she's his mother. She gets to decide what form of discipline is right for him. I don't know Drew, and every child is different. She does. So hopefully she'll be able to decide on a form of consequences which will be impactful for him. But none of that, based on Opie's description of his relationship with both mother and son, should be Opie's problem. He should be getting his money back from the kid's mother, and after that it's no longer his business how she handles it. It's between her and her son. Not stay home. I don't believe, not for a minute, that they were just stolen by a stranger. Same here. Any damage to the car? Not mentioned, so I assume not. Someone got the golf clubs out of a locked trunk but didn't damage the car? Red flags. Last story. Am I the a-hole for being annoyed boyfriend is home on my day off? Title's a bit weird. Let me explain. So, my boyfriend and I both work the day shift. So we are both home after 6 p.m. We have our days off set up, that he is off Saturday and Sundays and I am off Sundays and Mondays. We each get one day off to ourselves to just be alone and do our own thing, and then one day off together to do whatever we want as well. My boyfriend and I have fairly different hobbies. We split doing his/me things together throughout the week. He's really into fitness and working out and always being active. I'm a pretty strong gamer and enjoy SFX and more indoor and less sweaty things. So, he stayed up stupid late last night and called in work this morning. 9 out of 10 times I wouldn't care. But it's Monday. It's my only day to myself, and he is constantly bugging me to go work out with him, or go on a hike, or generally to just be active because he's bored. Again, 9 over 10 times wouldn't matter, and I'd spend a few hours doing whatever he wanted. I just needed this day to just be quiet and dark and me time. I am 100% on the opposite end of a social person. I just want my one day to be alone, to recuperate for the week. I look forward to this one day the entire week. I'm definitely annoyed, and definitely showing it, even though I'm trying not to. I have tried explaining this. I've tried being nice and just telling him I need some me time, and he's just not listening. I pretty much snapped and told him to just leave me the heck alone for a bit. And now he's sulking in the living room. Am I the a-hole? This keeps coming up. It's not a one-off. He does call in about 1 day a month. Sometimes two. His job allows this as long as they are ahead of schedule. This is why I say 9 over 10 times I do not care and can usually be alone on these days. We still spend the evening together when he'd usually be home from work. We split our hobbies together as well. I bike, hike, work out 3 to 4 days a week, and he plays games and lets me cover him with makeup. It's not like we don't do things together. Not the a-hole. This may not be a popular opinion, but as an introvert with a partner who also works from home full-time, I need my time. You have every right to want your own time without him trying to get you to do stuff with him when he called into work. For staying up too late, not even because he was genuinely ill, and it should have been your day to relax and recover. Totally agree. Opie's not a-hole. I dated a guy like Opie's significant other. Every single moment not working had to be spent attached at the hip. Kids and pets aren't even as clingy as that guy was. It was like I was his sole source of entertainment and he had no clue how to entertain himself. He had to be in the same room as me at all times. I couldn't even go to the gym on my own without him sulking. No, wasn't meeting anyone there. I just preferred music to trying to hold a conversation while working out. I was very much like Opie and very possessive of my own day off to myself. I dealt with the public in my job. It was very mentally exhausting. When I was dating my husband, I asked him once what he would do if I didn't feel like watching a movie and went into a different room to read a book. His answer? He'd leave me to my book and ask if I wanted a refill on my coffee when he finished the movie. The ex would stop the movie and follow me. Talking non-stop. Wasn't even following me to read a book himself. I found that I was less possessive of my me time with my husband because I knew I would get it without a sulking toddler theatrics. Even unexpected days off. I now work from home. He'll ask if I have to work that day, and if I do, he leaves me be during the day and entertains himself in the house or putters around a wood shop. Even if I don't, he asks what my plans were for the day over breakfast. Sometimes we do stuff together. Other times, wood shop puttering.